morning, and thank you so much for being part of the podcast. We're really looking forward to having you on board and speak about IT in aviation. I think you're the absolute right person to enable a lot of people to learn about things in IT in airports in general, and what they can do in order to establish a career in this particular industry. So before we start off, Sally, would love to know your background, where you come from, what's your passion for IT, and how did it all start for you?
Hi, thank you, Chimney. Thank you for the invitation and for allowing me to share my knowledge on the industry. And again, hopefully it's beneficial. So about myself, I'm Salie Behardien. I'm currently the head of IT at Ras Al Khaimah International Airport. My education is I'm a holder of a BCom Honours degree. I'm also currently a master's candidate, completing my master's degree in aviation. A bit about my background from a professional perspective. I actually started in finance and started on a service desk. So from the ground, handling calls from users, from service desk to engineer, system software testing, business analysis, then to project management, and then found myself into IT service operations. And again, from IT operations into management, senior management, and so forth. So, from an holistic end-to-end view of IT and spanning across various industries, finance, retail, banking, and aviation industries. One of the more notable standouts in the career was being part of the IT management team at I am from Cape Town, South Africa, so managing Cape Town International Airport, which was at the time the Skytrax Award winner of the best airport in Africa. So that's a notable standout achievement. In my current role, it's also an exciting journey for the Ras Al Khaimah International Airport and the Emirate itself. So there's currently a significant amount of projects as we are trying to innovate and improve our infrastructure to make it a lot more the passenger experience seamless and user-friendly. And Ras Al Khaimah, our competitors are industry leaders. Right next door, we have Sharjah Airport. Next door to them, we have Dubai International. And then you have Zaid International. So we have large Middle Eastern airports that we have to compete with. And we have to think differently when competing with them. So I have a very unique approach to how we can enter the market compared to the bigger players. But again, through the experience and building up that experience, you have this ability to think of things differently. In terms of passions and interests, so I am very useful with my hands. So a lot of the things that I do is as a passion and as a hobby. I actually take time out when I rebuild vehicles. I sit with my laptop. I do diagnostics of my own personal vehicles. I don't believe in taking it to a repair shop. I believe I can do it myself. It doesn't always work that way, but I'm a hands-on type of person. But being hands-on actually helps you in your career as well. So that's the positive about it. That's my outlook. There is no challenge that I'm afraid to walk away from. I see it as a challenge and I want to overcome and learn from the experience, whether I'm successful or not. It's always a learning. There's always a positive whenever you are faced with a challenge. There's no negative to it. You do not lose with challenges. And if you have that outlook, I think you accept whatever comes your way, because you're always going to win from that experience. From a personal perspective, my family also immigrated to the UAE, and just maybe you'll find this funny. I've always been fortunate and blessed to travel many airports across the world and visited Dubai and Abu Dhabi many times. But when I was offered the position at Ras Al Khaimah, I was expecting the same standard as Dubai and Zaid. To have come in the middle of the desert to see Ras Al Khaimah, I thought, oh my word, this is nothing like Dubai and Zaid International. So it was quite a shock. But I think the beauty of Ras Al Khaimah is it's still very cultural. It's authentic, so that's the beauty of being in Ras Al Khaimah. It is a it's a personal gem, and just to speak on the punt, it's finding a rough diamond that you have an opportunity to shine up. So that's Ras Al Khaimah in a nutshell. And a bit about me, Chinmay.
That's great to hear, Sally. So it's interesting from finance to heading IT at an airport, and also being a DIY person. It's more a do-it-yourself, right? You like to go out and fix things on your own. I think that's a great passion to have too. With respect to your experience in IT, you did mention Cape Town previously, right? So you've spent some time in airports. You spent some time in IT in airports. We just really want to know what are some of the key skills that people need in a very specific IT role in airports in order to succeed in this particular industry, in that role.
So some of the skills that you'd require, and just to clarify, so I've worked at Cape Town International Airport, an award-winning airport, whilst overseeing the management of the IT infrastructure projects and operations at Cape Town. I also oversaw the smaller regional airports. So George is a regional airport, East London is a regional airport, Port Elizabeth. So there was 3 smaller airports as well, and they called it the cluster. So I actually oversaw a total of 4 airports in my tenure at Cape Town. So with that, central to all of this, Chinmay, we're always dealing with people. Okay, whatever you do, you are dealing with a person. And I think if there's something I want to impart on you on is in dealing with a person, what helps me through my career is seeing something from their perspective and listening. Listening not to respond, but listening to understand. So if you can master the soft skill of listening, I think half the battle is won because you will fully understand where the other party is coming from. From other skills, technical skills, in-depth understanding, again, from a technical perspective of we live in an interconnected world. So networking and network infrastructure is critical for not just the airport, but any business organization. The last 2 weeks ago, Dubai hosted the GSEC conference. Cybersecurity and security at an airport level is paramount.
Right.
I do not see this going away. I actually see this growing. So when we speak security and cybersecurity, it's an absolute need in an airport environment. And, as technologies become more advanced and accessible, we mention the artificial intelligence, the Internet of Things, the IoTs. So when these advancements start taking place, so do the opportunity for hacking, and securing those environments against potential hacking. And then also system integrations, very important to integrate various systems. Airports, as advanced as they might be, there's many legacy systems still. So you're trying to, integrate legacy to a new way of working, and also maybe just adopting completely new strategies and technology as well. So program and project management skills are also very key in a skill to have within the airport environment. An airport without baggage handling. Can you imagine, Chinmay? No baggage at an airport. It doesn't exist,
Oh
right?
wow, that is true.
So again, there's many opportunities in baggage handling and understanding the technology and the tracking that goes with from the conveyor, from the loading, from the receiving in and tracking the baggage all the way, and the backing systems and the bag tagging and so on. I feel we are still using systems that may be legacy and applying it in today. There's not really been significant transformation in this space. I think airlines offer you a carry-on option, which is easy and convenient. But if you have to, you have to do a bag drop or you have to check in baggage, there are challenges with that sometimes. I'm not sure if you ever lost baggage and the frustration with that, So again, if there was a way of tracking where your bags are, in other words, you could maybe go onto an app and you could see, hey, my bag's on the flight, my bag's about to be loaded onto this carousel, my bag's actually coming out of this carousel, it's checked at that time. So again, if as we evolve and as technology evolve, if those technologies can come to the fore, it again provides that seamless passenger experience, that wow almost factor in the industry. So for anyone who's looking at the skills, these are typically some of the technologies and skill sets that's required in the industry as we continually evolve. So just to sum it all up, soft skills are paramount. Technical skills, I think security, networking, infrastructure, all of those are critical to run an operation. Personally, if you're able to connect, network, and collaborate with various stakeholders, and we speak to regulatory bodies, airlines, other authorities. You speak to a wide range of audience, and again, you need to understand where they're coming from, so that you build and support that ecosystem and infrastructure accordingly. And also the ability to take things in and quickly address these. So type of rapid thinking and solution problem solving to some of these situations will also place you in a very good position and a skill to have. And flexibility and adaptability. Things change very fast in an airport. So if you are very rigid in your ways, it might clash with your personality, because you have to be adaptable, you have to change, so I think to summarize in a nutshell, those are quite, to sum up some of the critical skills required if you're passionate about working in this industry, and if you have those skills, it'll be not just a good fit, it'll be a great fit, and I think it will be good to see your career and your future grow within the industry.
Oh, that's fantastic, Salie. I have a quick follow-up question, if you don't mind. You gave a really interesting and relatable example about the technology that can support better baggage handling and can also alert the passenger in real time, right? For example, knowing where my baggage is. In this particular example and many other such examples that you may already know or have in your mind, is it the lack of technology in the market where there is a chance for innovation, or is it the challenge in adoption of these technologies that airports typically see? Which of these would be?
So it's a very good question, and again, I always place myself in the position of a passenger. And when you look at the passenger, and we always speak about the target market. So what's the dynamic of the target market nowadays? And for me, and I think that's a bit of the reluctance as well. So specifically at certain airports, your target market is a specific audience who are not tech savvy, who still wants to walk in and speak to someone. They do not want to use the smart device. So you have to cater for all. So with that in mind, yes, there might be a reluctance to move forward, but I think the industry and the evolution of technologies will cater for both. So there are some smart solutions out there, like the Airport Community app that I've seen recently, where it's an airport community app with many functionalities on it. And I actually think baggage could be one of those functionalities over there. Also, the baggage handling, it's again very restricted in terms of who offers the service. It's not open, so it's an offering within a few organizations, that you can go to say, please manage the baggage handling for my airport, as an example, and for this airline. So, from a legal commercial perspective, it becomes very complex, and hence the complexity also sometimes causes the reluctance to move forward in the industry. But having said that, there's definitely an opportunity to always challenge the status quo, to always look at the passenger and what will make it easier for the passenger. So Chinmay, I'm sure, I recently lost bags, and it was a very anxious moment to land in a foreign country with no baggage, and immediately you're thinking, okay, how am I going to dress myself for the next few days, and so on. So it becomes even for me, it's very anxious, even though I know in the back end, your bags are scanned. They know where you checked through. You know where the last check-in spot was, which sensor checked in, and where the bag most likely will be. So even though I have the reassurance that I know the bag will eventually arrive, it's still at that moment you are very vulnerable and you are in so much doubt. Hence, if you had a smartphone and you could see, okay, I have now arrived in Ras Al Khaimah International Airport, but my bag is still in Mumbai. So in that case, okay, I know it's still in Mumbai. I'll go to the hotel. And it gets pinged when you're in your hotel and say, your bag is now arrived in Ras Al Khaimah. How would that experience make you feel? Even though
Right.
it's a poor experience, your bags got missing. It's a very
Right.
poor experience and a significant inconvenience to you. But knowing that you can track
At
it,
least you're
how
aware.
does that make you feel?
Right.
Versus today, what do you do today if it's missing? You have
I
you
bite
have
my nails.
you have no idea. You understand? So
Yeah.
yes. So I think this is just one example we're touching on of where we can challenge the status quo and bring in these technologies to just again offer that seamless passenger experience.
Understood. That's a fantastic way to elaborate that, Sally. I appreciate the explanation. A quick follow-up question on this. Speaking of new technologies, AI is the next big buzzword. I won't even call it a buzzword anymore. It's here. Many applications run on technologies that are powered by AI. So, what are some of the challenges and opportunities you see in the space of aviation? You did mention security initially in one of your points that you spoke of, that as AI evolves, security is going to be paramount because the chances for hacking also increase, right? So
Yeah.
how would you elaborate on this particular point for challenges and opportunities?
So from an airport perspective, if you think of the airport operation, it's an operation, right? So there's a process of facilitating a passenger through this operation. And to
Right,
facilitate a passenger, you need equipment. Is part of the biggest part of facilitation. So
right,
besides you walking through, as a passenger walking through a terminal, you're not really engaging with any equipment. All of that happens on the air side. That's where you have all the equipment in terms of ground handling and turnaround of the aircraft, airline, and ground operations. So from my perspective, that's possibly one of the biggest wins that AI and IoT can come in. Have you ever experienced inconvenience? As an example, my master thesis is on conveyor belt systems and predicting failures on conveyor belt systems. Why is that important? It's because your baggage system uses conveyor belts, right? So if your baggage is on a conveyor belt and it breaks before it reaches the carousel number that you're standing at and waiting, what does it mean for you? It means you're standing there wondering, where is this? I don't know when it's coming. What does that mean for the airport and airline? The next airline that's coming in that should have been allocated that conveyor now also cannot use that conveyor. What does that mean for the following passenger experience? The knock-on impact is a further delay on the following passenger waiting for the same conveyor. What does that again mean for the airline? How does that impact the turnaround time now? Because the delays has a compounded impact. So looking at my masters, I'm looking at how we can predictively detect a failure in a conveyor system and do preventative and predictive maintenance and repair before it fails, therefore moving towards a 100% operational uptime. If we can predict this, and this we can only do through AI technology and IoT devices as well. The same, like if you look at your pushback of an aircraft, all the equipment used on the ground operations, when they fail, they impact airline turnaround time, and in essence, impacting airline turnaround impacts passenger experience. Everything
right.
we do in an airline is around your customer, your passenger, right? Everything we do is to delight give that passenger a very wow experience. And any impact to that experience is a negative towards the business, the airline, the operation, etc. So these technologies can result in us preventing any major failures and preparing us to do predictive maintenance on our equipment before they fail, resulting in always being an always on environment, an always up environment. So, when you're flying to Ras Al Khaimah International, as an example, 100% there will never be a delay at that airport. How do you feel when you hear something like that? That airport guarantees your baggage won't be delayed, your processing times won't be delayed, your check-in, your checkout won't be delayed. And further to that, right now, there's systems that we use from an AI perspective. For example, LiDAR. LiDAR is a sensor-based system where they track a passenger movement from when they are dropped and they
Right.
move through the airport, through to check-in, security, immigration, duty-free, and until they're at the boarding gate. They track the entire passenger journey. And by doing that, you can now start saying, I guarantee you, Chimney, you will not wait longer than 5 minutes in any point, guaranteed. So to make a
Oh,
statement
wow.
like that, Chimney, you need to know when things are going to fail or not have them fail when you make statements like that. And if they fail, you have a contingency ready because, you're putting out, I guarantee you will not wait 5 minutes at any place. Immigration, you will not wait longer than 5 minutes in the queue. Immigration, when I go there, I always wait longer than 5 minutes in the queue. So it's an interesting challenge, but it's because of the technology that it's creating that visibility now, and that will enhance the experience and again improve the entire facilitation and experience, not only from the passenger perspective, but from an airline perspective as well. Because if we can reduce your waiting times, your airline can offer more slots to these locations because they know the aircraft can turn around within 2 hours, as an example, meaning I save a half an hour, and half an hour for an airline potentially leads to another slot, another availability they can
That's
add
right.
to it, So this is the importance of AI in the industry right now, and how it can definitely improve it. And again, very easy to compare to today, or when there was no AI or IoT technology. You only knew of the breakdown while you were pushing back the aircraft, and you had to stop, or the bags were loaded on the carousel and you were about to start the carousel and it broke, So can you understand, with the emergence of AI into this, the experience will just be so much better and seamless.
It's so interesting to hear this with the tagline "The Airport of Tomorrow" written right behind you, and we see airports like Ras Al Khaimah leaning on technology to compete with some of the bigger airports that are right in your vicinity. So I think that's a very that's a very unusual and amazing take that you have in order to enhance passenger experience to drive more traffic to the airport in a way. So it's almost like the upstart fighting some industry leaders, but you're doing it leaning on some really good stuff like technology, for example.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, Chimna, I think the view here is, yes, we are an airport, but we don't have to follow norms. We can challenge those norms. What will make us stand out using all these technologies? What will make Ras Al Khaimah International stand out in a unique way and provide a excellent talked about passenger experience as they facilitate through? And that's the, almost how we look at these this challenge and creative way of addressing and giving that experience to our passengers. And yes, Chimney, it is, I mean, just imagine you have Dubai right next door, who's now said, yes, Dubai International Airport, it's too small for us. We're going to, Dubai World, sorry, DXB. They're moving, to the bigger airport, Maktoum Airport right now. So you're saying, okay, we're not at that scale, but you're moving to even bigger airports. So they're always innovating, always pushing boundaries, which is good for our industry because it makes us as the smaller airports think of okay, what opportunities do we see now? How can we improve that? Because I've also seen a shift in passenger mindset. And the shift is, again, passengers, once they arrive at the destination location, you do not want to be held up with long waits or mega airports, trying to get out
Right.
to get to your destination. You want a very quick processing. Touchdown, get through immigration, get my bag, leave. Done. So I can go enjoy my vacation, as an example. So there's a shift right now, compared to touchdown, massive immigration wall. I didn't know where to go to. From a massive immigration wall, I must walk 20 gates to get to somewhere. Then I go to a massive shopping mall. Then I must walk another, I don't know how long, before I get to transport. So, it's those nuances and opportunities that you look at. If you're a frequent flyer, a traveler, you've seen it once, twice, it's like, okay, this walk's going to be long because I know what's waiting for me. If you're new, it's like, hey, great experience. Look at all of this. So, it's that fine balance between the two. And again, that's where we're trying to see how we can take the lessons learned, take what the bigger airport is doing, and package it in a unique way to bring about a great experience at Ras Al Khaimah.
It's almost like you're speaking as a startup leader using all the agility you have to compete with legacy organizations. It's a very strong correlation right there. That's
Yeah,
very exciting to know.
yeah,
Amazing.
yeah.
That
And
actually
Chimney,
answers one of, yeah, carry
we're
on.
very fortunate as well. So again, if you're in a position of leadership in the airport industry, um, the big airports is doing it already, so you can learn from their mistakes. You don't have to go redo the mistake. You just take the lesson and implement the lesson already. So it's also
Right.
very good for us, especially in a smaller operation, because those mistakes become costly. So literally, you just take the learning and implement, and you have a better experience from the get-go.
So in that case, Sally, let me ask you, if I want to call your airport the startup, now that you've given that this term in the conversation, what would you look for if you're hiring a team for IT professionals? Like what are some of the qualities you would look for as a leader? Some like who you'd like to be part of the team, with all the traits you mentioned that work for an agile and fast environment, much like RKTs.
So it's a great question, and I do a lot of research on this because depending on the position that you're hiring for, I'm of the opinion attitude is, for me, the most important. If you have someone with the right attitude, number one, you can be taught anything, because attitude is important. Again, my team around me, I have to empower them. So we have many challenges at time, but to know that you empowering your team to go and make a mistake. We don't want to make the mistakes, but to know that if they make a mistake, it's fine because we've learned from it, in a positive way. Again, it's the mindset of what you empower them with, because in that lesson, they're learning to grow, and they are open to come back to you to say, I've got a great idea. I have something that no one has thought of, or we can do the following, because you're empowering them to go out there and change something, and supporting them in that change. That's when those great ideas are actually born. Again, failure or success to me, both a win. I never lose. Okay, we as this airport, we never lose. We always winning. Okay, from irrespective of what we achieve at the end of the day. So attitude when hiring is very important. Besides attitude, you need to think in a certain way. So you have to be a critical thinker. And your thinking style also important. So just the logic behind how you put things together, how you think of problem solving techniques, and so on. From the airport industry specifically, I think we touched on it earlier. So when you look for hiring and the almost scarce skills or sought after skills in this industry. I almost want to change right now, to say that cybersecurity and information security is actually a critical skill. So I would definitely look for a skill set specializing in that, but a combination of specializing maybe in your information security, but understanding network infrastructure, understanding physical infrastructure, cloud and hybrid solutions as well, because there's a big shift towards cloud as well, right? So getting into cloud, understanding cloud and the physical infrastructure. And then once you have that as a foundation, already getting familiar with airport systems, airport besides your physical, besides your information security, big on physical security. So CCTV camera technology, huge. And camera technology evolution has moved as well. We spoke about AI. Most cameras are AI intuitive right now. So
Right.
you actually do not have to have a command center looking all the time. The cameras alert you. You set up parameters for it, and it alerts when those parameters are breached. So lots of innovation behind the airport systems like cameras. Again, flight information display. Again, all these are software related type skills that you would look for. But above all of those certifications and so on, which is important, it must be combined with the right attitude. Again, if I find someone who's got the attitude and not the experience necessarily, I most likely will lean towards an attitude, because the person can always learn. Yeah.
Understood. Yeah, absolutely. Makes sense, Salie. And I can understand, keeping in mind the environments you operate in, the complexity of systems, the amount of integrations, as you mentioned in the beginning. It's a challenging. It can be overwhelming to start off to look at all these things in place and moving in tandem with one another. So yeah, I think that's a great feedback, or that's a great point that our audience would love to know as well. So, any closing thoughts for people who are seeking to join this field, Sally? As the last question for the day, would love to know if you have any closing thoughts, any informal suggestions from your end as well.
I think it's an exciting time that we're living in, Chennai. So if you look at aviation, and it's a very unique industry as well. But very exciting because, Riyadh Air, if I use Riyadh Air as an example, and I read recently, it's almost similar to the model of your Uber, your Careem, your Airbnb. And I was fortunate to be at the launch of Riyadh Air at the Dubai Air Show. So they're busy launching over there. And I was in one of the talks where they actually said, they are not an airline. So I was like, okay, they're not an airline? No, they are they own a digital application who owns aircrafts. So it's similar to
Okay,
it's similar to Airbnb.
right.
They don't own hotels, they own a digital platform
That's
that
right.
you can book at. So that's very interesting. So their focus is completely digital. I think they're going to be very disruptive, which is good. I think what they're going to come out with is going to be very interesting once they launch. I do know they are definitely working very strong on the digital platform, because it's not going to be traditional. Um, that's for sure. It's going to be, I think they're going to shake up the industry.
Okay.
So it's interesting. And if you've seen some of the names that's already part of Riyadh, it's going to be very different. And I think they set themselves up to really challenge some of the well-known brands in aviation already. With that said, my thought on this is a final thought on this is the innovation that's coming, and the platforms that's coming with it, and really leading this digital transformation journey. The the traditional airport ecosystem might be under threat of how you do things. Because right now, I mean, I've been exposed to technologies, for example, bag checking, where you can do it from your hotel. You don't have to carry a
Right.
bag to an airport any longer. They come fetch it. You walk straight through. You have your boarding pass already. There's no security checkpoint. There's nothing. It's a seamless experience, as one example. I think Riyadh is going to be very to something like that, where it's not going to be dependent on an airport location, which is going to be an interesting innovation. And then I also think that sustainability in airports is huge. So sustainability, green airports. It will be interesting to see how that's incorporated into their strategy, because we certainly at Ras Al Khaimah, we're looking at becoming more green, putting down a green carbon footprint, being more sustainable. So it will be interesting to see how they address that as well. I've been fortunate to see some of the airport design at King Salman International Airport. It does not look like an airport, so that's interesting as well. So I think there's exciting times ahead in the industry, and I think as any aspiring professional wanting to get into aviation, I think the journey ahead is going to be very disruptive, very creative, and very innovative. And if you fit that profile of having that, the right attitude, adaptability, flexibility, willing to learn, have the foundations in that, I think you're going to be a good fit to build the future of aviation.
Oh, that absolutely sums up what the aviation world looks like right now from in the guise of technology. So thank you so much for that, Sally. That was very enlightening. It's a pleasure for having you share your experience and your thoughts with us. I'm very, very sure that the people who are going to listen to this and watch this podcast are going to find it absolutely interesting. And we really hope it motivates them to look at aviation as a sector where a lot of disruptions, like you mentioned, can be brought in, and then they can be part of that entire journey themselves.
Thank you, Jimmy. Thank you again for the invite, and I hope it has been imparting the little bit of knowledge that I have in this industry will benefit, some of the listeners, or few of the listeners. And if they want to reach out and ask anything, I'm always willing to give back because I'm passionate about seeing this industry grow, and grow beyond. Upward and onward, as they say, Chimney. And again, thank you to you for the invite. Much appreciated.
Thank you so much for your time, Sally, and for all the wise words of wisdom. We really appreciate you having on the podcast today.
Thank you, Chimney. Okay, thank you.
Bye.